Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. John Owen talks about sports and movies. Thank you for checking out today's video. I always appreciate the support. Let's get into it. So with the NBA draft coming up this year and coming up this week, the debate between Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson has really been heating up this past week as far as who is going to go number two after Victor Wembanyama is, expected to go number one, should go number one in every circumstance. So today we're going to have the debate of who is going to be the very second best. Should Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson go second in the 2023 NBA draft? But make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe so you never miss out on any of the fun. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Who do you think should go number two behind the French phenom? With all that being said, let's get into it. First off, I hope someone appreciated that reference I was making in the title of the video. If you watch Pokemon, either growing up or now, you know exactly what song I'm talking about. One of the greatest theme songs of all time. Excellent, wonderful, but not that important at this moment. So what I think needs to happen in this debate is let's just break down the player profiles, strengths, weaknesses, blah blah blah, all that stuff. And then we're also gonna have to look at who has the number two pick, and then see how they fit into the timeline of those teams and kind of the play style. Okay, we'll start off with Brandon Miller up top first. So Brandon Miller, 20 years old, out of Alabama, 6'9", wing, absolute bucket getter. I mean, he truly is an incredible scorer of the basketball. Three-level scorer, can play make as well. Is a plus defender. I wouldn't say he's locked down, but he can play 1 through 4. He's the type of guy who doesn't need the ball in his hand. So you look at him as just like someone you can throw out there on the wing. They can go get you buckets, and then they can go down there and defend and be a plus defender and be able to contribute on both sides of the ball. So now you're like, oh my gosh, well, that sounds like a pretty good complete prospect to me. What's the issue? I think the only knock on Brandon Miller is that against the top 50 defenses that Alabama did play this year, not the 50 best defenses they played, but teams that were in the top 50 of defense that they played, his numbers did dip quite a bit. And so, you might be a little concerned about, well, does he fold under extra defensive attention? But, I'm just going to chalk that up to, like the flow and the spacing of college basketball is not exactly the most efficient. And I think, college teams can just kind of get bogged down a little bit. But that's truly the only knock I can think of. So, and then we got Scoot Henderson. So before I get to Scoot, actually, back up. So Brandon Miller is a 6'9", just great length, great size, plus defender 1 through 4, just an absolutely offensive threat. So then we got Scoot Henderson. So Scoot Henderson played in the G League Ignite, and he's 6'2", but with a 6'9" wingspan. So he plays much larger than he actually is. He's a point guard. He's got that kind of jaw, D Rose, Russell Westbrook bounce and explosiveness to his game. He's an absolute monster going to the rim. You cannot stop him. He's an elite level finisher. I'm sure you guys have seen the clip of where he just like absolutely talks it on the guy in the G League. And I think what's really interesting in him is just his length. To be 6'2", but be that long, that gives you such an advantage of, you can go up and you can also go out. Just because, you have the explosiveness to get up and play above the rim, but then you can also get out and do like a little more like longer, like sideways finishes and stuff like that as well. And so I think that his like rim pressure creation ability is gonna be unlike anyone else in this draft. I truly think like a special athlete like a D Rose or a Jaw or something like that, just like an absolute force of nature going towards the rim. He's also a really good defender, and he is also a really great playmaker as well. So he creates for himself, he creates for others. And so, just a superb athlete, great attacker of the rim, a plus defender, and an elite playmaker. So, what are his drawbacks? He is not an elite shooter. He is not a great shooter right now. That's definitely his biggest area of improvement. I think, though, that I think he's got a shot to have a really solid shot, because he does have a good free throw stroke. He shot a good percentage from the free throw line. And so, that's usually a telltale sign of whether you have the ability to develop yourself into a great shooter or into a competent at the least or a good shooter. That's kind of your free throw percentage. He does shoot very, very good from the line, above 70%. So, I think there's a lot of potential there. He's also been nicked up a little bit. He had like a nasal fracture and a couple concussions, so he did miss some time this year. But um, I think that he is just such an explosive athlete, um, and great playmaker and good defender that you can work through having to work through that shot. I don't think everyone needs to be. I think it's unreasonable to think that everyone's going to be a complete prospect coming into the league. No holes in your game. That's just not reasonable. And so I think that Scoot's just overall potential is just too much for you to be worried about the shot at this moment. So now that we've kind of broken them down, let's kind of compare the two. I think where the discussion begins is, I think that Brandon Miller's got a higher floor, but Scoot's got a higher ceiling. Um, you know, I don't necessarily think that, like, and that's not to say that Brandon Miller doesn't have a high ceiling. That is not what I'm saying at all. No, absolutely not. I can totally see Brandon Miller being like a Paul George type beat. Paul George is really good. Paul George almost beat prime Miami LeBron twice in the playoffs. That's really good. That is excellent. I don't think he brings quite that defensive prowess that Paul George would bring, but kind of that same type of long wing scorer defender. Um, I think that's what Brandon Miller could be. But I think that Scoot's got like some like MVP type level potential if he's able to develop his shot more. Um, like compared to D Rose and Russell Westbrook, both of those guys have won MVPs, and so I think Scoot can be that type of level player. Now you may be saying that Russ isn't a championship type of player, true, but I don't think Scoot is as ball heavy as Russ is. Also, if he's able to develop a shot, he'll be a better shooter, so he won't be as much of a detriment as Russ has been due to his lack of shooting. Um, and so I think they've got a little give or take, as far as um, like a little higher floor, a little higher ceiling, both super high ceilings, but one guy can take you a little further potentially if both hit it in my mind. Um, Scoot being the guy that's got the higher ceiling. And so it's a little give or take. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them at two. Charlotte's picking at two. I don't think they can go wrong with either one, truly. I think that um, they're going to walk away very happy, and Portland's also going to walk away very, very, very happy with getting whoever Charlotte doesn't end up picking, because you can't deny the talent of either one of these guys. I think there's a clear cut, Victor's clear cut, but these guys have separated themselves as prospects from the rest of their class. So now let's look at Charlotte and how Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson would fit on that team. When it comes to the Charlotte Hornets, the main thing is that how do they fit with LaMelo? I definitely think that Brandon Miller is the most seamless fit here. He's not a guard. He is not a ball dominant player. You can throw him out there on the wing. LaMelo can still have the ball. And I don't think you take away any part of LaMelo's game. I really don't. I really don't. I think it's a seamless fit between him and LaMelo. But then with Scoot, I don't think the fit is quite as good, but I think that they're both good enough playmakers, and defenders, and scorers that they could make it work. At least to kind of see if you could at least make it work. Um, I think Scoot's also interesting because if the fit maybe is not perfect, you could flip Scoot, if he develops, for something else or for someone else that might fit better against LaMelo. Um, I think when you're drafting in the top 5, the top 3 even, I think drafting for fit is not always the best idea. That's why like the Trailblazers pick Sam Bowie and not Michael Jordan. And um and like I'm trying to think of another example. That's how many fits. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but like, we've seen drafting for fit in the top 3 and the top 5 is not always the best choice. So that's my only reservation about is like, what if you settle? If you're settling for Brandon Miller, that's great. But I don't know. Scoot is just so tantalizing to me at number 2. Truly, truly. I think in another draft, Scoot would probably be, if this was another draft and slash or the Hornets weren't picking second, I think Scoot would pretty easily be the number 1 pick in this draft. If Victor Wembanyama did not exist, Scoot would be the number 1 pick in this draft. The only reason we're talking about him at 3 is because of the Charlotte picking at 2. And Scoot really impressed them in the workout and all that. And so I really think you're just like kind of throwing darts at this point. But when you're picking that high, it can't just be like, oh, okay, oh well. Like, no, like you've got a really unique opportunity to maximize on this and really capitalize on getting your cornerstone. So, what is the verdict? I think despite how highly I think of Scoot Henderson as a prospect, I think Brandon Miller is a very, very close, very, very close equal talent, and he's just a seamless fit with LaMelo. And I think Brandon Miller can be the guy on your team, even if it doesn't work out with LaMelo. So I think Brandon Miller is going to go number 2. I think Scoot is in play there, but I do think Brandon Miller is going to end up being the number 2 overall pick on Thursday night. So thank you for watching today's video. I always appreciate the support. Make sure you guys check out the link content above. I just appreciate every one of you that tunes in and watches the videos. I hope all of you have a great day. Thank you.